Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back to part 2 of today's reading session. Now let's take a look at Imam Hussein's opposition during Muawiyah's reign. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Muawiyah had attempted to force Imam Hussein's allegiance to Yazid, or at the least ensure that he would not revolt. He was not able to achieve that goal. Historians recorded a number of accounts where Imam Hussain alayhi salam confronted Muawiyah with this. In a letter to Muawiyah, Imam Hussain wrote, "I have heard what you had to say about Yazid's merits and qualifications to lead the nation of Muhammad. You wish to delude the people about Yazid as if you are recounting something confidential, describing someone who is absent from the nation's view, or detailing tales of which only you knew. Yazid has acted in a way to convey his character. Let Yazid continue with what he likes best: participation in dogfights, racing pigeons, playing with maiden bards, and visiting brothels, and you will find him very willing. Abandon these attempts. Don't aspire to reach Allah with a heavier burden than you hold now. By Allah, you have been persistent in adding vice to transgression and madness to oppression. By this you have filled all vessels, while nothing separates you from death but a blink of an eye." Muawiyah thought that he could compel Imam Hussain to pay allegiance to Yazid by excluding all Hashemites from the grants of the public treasury. This tactic did not achieve Muawiyah's goal. In the end, Muawiyah died while Imam Hussain remained steadfast in his refusal to swear allegiance to Yazid. Okay, now let's look at Imam Hussein's opposition to Yazid's rule, inshallah. When Muawiyah died, many people, especially in Iraq, saw hatred for the Umayyad clan and love for the family of the Prophet ﷺ as their personal creed. By that time, the Muslim nation had discovered enough of the vices of the Umayyad state. It tasted its transgression and saw its oppression. It saw great injustice economically and socially. The veil that had kept it in its ignorance was removed. Yazid could not imitate his father's prudence, determination, or caution. He did not follow his father's example and enshroud his actions in a garb of faith and piety. Neither did Imam Hassan nor Imam Hussain alayhim salam enter into any treaty with Yazid. I guess because they thought there was no point, since he would most definitely break it. So what's the point? Thus, by the death of Muawiyah, all the considerations that had stopped Imam Hussain from revolution subsided. The road was paved for Imam Hussain alayhi salam to lead his revolution against the Umayyad state. Yazid's haste in attempting to force allegiance from the leaders of the Muslim nation only served to accelerate the order of events. Yazid's first order of business after his father's death was to seek out whoever did not pledge allegiance to him before. As soon as he took power, he wrote 2 letters to Walid ibn Utbah, the governor of Medina, the first informing him of Muawiyah's death, and the second ordering him to seek the allegiance of a number of Medina's elite. He wrote, "Demand allegiance from Hussein, Abdullah ibn Umar, and Ibn al-Zubayr. Give them no excuse until they make the oath." Some sources of this narration add the following phrase: "Whoever refuses, strike off his head and send it to me." When Walid did what Yazid instructed, Imam Hussain alayhi salam attempted to elude them. He proposed the following: "The likes of me do not give their allegiance in secret. Neither would my allegiance benefit you if it were in secret. Go out and call the people to swear allegiance, and let me be among them at the time, so that there is no secrecy in this matter." Marwan saw through Imam Hussein's attempt and advised Walid, "If he were to leave right now without swearing allegiance, you would not be able to put him in a similar situation again. There would be bloodshed between you and him. Detain him until he swears allegiance, or else take off his head." "Woe to you," Imam Hussain alayhi salam interjected. "You order my beheading? Vile liar." He then turned to Walid and said the following: "Governor, we are the household of the Prophet ﷺ, the core of the message and the harbor of angels. By us, Allah has introduced his message, and to us he will return it. Yazid is a deviant, a miscreant, a drunkard, and a murderer. He has publicly professed his deviance and impiety. Someone like me will never give homage to the likes of him. With this, Imam Hussain a.s. declared his revolution against the Umayyad state, knowing well its might and intolerance to opposition. Muawiyah had died and there was no longer a promise of peace. Imam Hussain came face to face with his historic rule. He had to make a lasting legacy. Imam Hussain a.s. knew that Yazid's rule would never gain legitimacy so long as he did not bear allegiance. If Imam Hussain had succumbed to the threat, he would grant legitimacy to the new chains that are now entangling the Muslim nation. He would be an enabler of oppression. There is a difference between a nation that concedes to unjust rule, knowing it's corrupt and that it must be changed, and a nation that concedes to oppression, thinking that it is legitimate and that there can be no change. A nation that falls into the second category will see its brutal, nasty, poor, humiliating, and insecure life as an inescapable fate. It would see this as an unalterable destiny that it can do nothing to change. At that moment, all hope of reform dies. All aspirations for revolution are doused. People would begin to cheer for their tormentors. The nation would accept what it actually is, as if it is truly what it ought to be. But when a nation is subdued, when it knows that its subjugator has no legitimacy, hope for reform will continue to live in its beating pulse. Revolution will continue to burn in the conscience. Revolutionaries will be ready to do their work as a groundwork for revolution is set. Imam Hussain a.s. was the only one who could fulfill this role. Revolution was his destined legacy. The others who refused to swear allegiance to Yazid did not have the same status and character. Abdullah ibn Umar was quick to concede, stating that, "If the people pay allegiance, so will I." As for Ibn al-Zubayr, he was hated amongst the people and accused of wanting to seize political power. His ambition for the throne was evident, and the public knew that he was not qualified for it.